From the days of Saint Stephen all the way down the centuries, the Church has had her martyrs, but the 19th century is distinguished for the great number, enthusiasm, and heroism of its martyrs for the faith. The Orient has supplied most of these. China heads the list, but there are also martyrs from Japan, Korea, Cochin, Syria, France, Spain, and Peru. The accounts of their martyrdom tempt us to believe that we are reading of a past far removed from our own age, but the fact is that many of them have lived in our own lifetime. Not much is known of the early life of Emmanuel Ruiz, but details of his heroic death in defense of the faith have come down to us.
Such modern martyrs are those of Damascus during the frightful massacre by the Crosses in 1860. A quarrel between a Maronite and a Druze was the occasion for the opening attack. The Druzes were armed, but the Christians allowed themselves to be disarmed by the Turkish authorities under the pretense of preserving order. Within 3 weeks, every Maronite's village of the main and southern parts of Lebanon was pillaged or burned. 6,000 Maronites were murdered, maimed, or outraged. The massacre broke out in Damascus on July 9, and in 3 days the adult males alone numbered 3,000 victims. Among these were 8 friars minor, who, by the circumstances of the death, are shown to have been martyrs for the faith. Blessed Emmanuel Ruiz and companions. 6 were priests, the other 2 were lay brothers. Emmanuel Ruiz was the superior of the convent, Carmen Volta, Botta, was the procurator, and Engelbert Colland, the assistant procurator. Nicanor Miano, Nicholas Mary Alberca, and Peter Sola were studying the Arabian language in preparation for their apostolic labors. The lay brothers were Francis Pinazzo and John James Fernandez. Among these were Emmanuel, superior of the Franciscan convent, 7 other friars, and 3 laymen. He was captured by Muslim rioters during the 1860 civil conflict in Mount Lebanon and Damascus and forced to embrace Islam, which he refused, and was killed by being cut into pieces in Damascus, Syria on the 10th of July 1860. They were subjected to horrible torture before the death. As one of the Damascus martyrs, he was beatified in 1926. Pope Pius XI declared Ruiz Lopez a martyr on the 2nd of May 1926. He was beatified by Pope Pius XI on the 10th of October 1926. His feast is celebrated on the 10th of July. On May 23, 2024, the Vatican announced a convocation of a consistory for their canonization of Ruiz and his companions. The Church in Syria has known persecution throughout its history, yet it has produced saints whose blood was shed for the faith. Let us pray for the Church in Syria.